Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn. I just want to welcome you to the How to Make Money Trading Stocks, Options, and ETFs that we offer from the Active Trend Traders every Friday, where we spend about 15 minutes seeing what's going on in the market, what took place in the market last week, what we may have going on next week. This has been an exciting week. Fed met and all that kind of stuff, but hey, we'll save that for the regular presentation. If you're joining us via Facebook and or our YouTube channel, I want to welcome you. And if you would, do me a favor, please feel free to share this content with your friends, families, and also if you appreciate the content, give us a nice thumbs up, leave some comments, and I'll chat back with you about what's going on. So let's get going with today's session. Dennis Wolf with the Active Trend Traders. I want to welcome you to the How to Make Money Trading Stocks, Options, and ETFs webinar. This is Friday, the 21st of June. Hope everybody had a really good week. This was kind of a, I don't know about that, what the kind of week to call this with the Fed meeting, and then we get a little bit of noise coming out of Iran with their trying to, shoot. They shot down one of our drones. So we'll see if that, what that, moves into next week, if it's going to be an issue or not an issue. Kudos so far. Restraint has been shown on our side. After all, it is a drone, but still you shouldn't be shooting down other people's drones. It's not nice. Anyway, all materials that we do present are for training purposes. Traders should always paper trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Past performance is not an indication or a promise of future performance. I found this quote the other day. I just absolutely love it. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. This is from Bruce Lee, one of the probably top martial artists of all times, did all the movies and all the kung fu movies for those of us old enough to remember the kung fu movies. But it totally applies to what we're doing with trading. Our overview and objective of this particular session is basically timely, actionable intel review at the end of the week, seeking to clarify, simplify market decisions so wealth can be multiplied. As I said, we had the Fed meet this week. What did the Fed do for us? Well, the Fed came back and was dovish. That's right, David. Do or do not. There is no try. Yeah. Our buddy, who's that, Yoda? Yeah, I think so. I love that. I love that statement. Dovish Fed basically set us up for the rally. However, the rally kind of ran out of gas a little bit today. A little bit surprising. And that could have to do with Iran trying to do their saber rattling. What next? Who knows? One of the things with the markets extended as far as they have, because we've got a pretty fast run up since the beginning of June, made a very quick run up. It may be a time just to not try to be real heavy or try to get a whole bunch of new positions going into the weekend. Just kind of take it easy and then wait for the proper setups. And so we'll take a look at the stocks, ETFs, performance, and bonus setups if we have any. Here's where we're sitting for the week as of about 9 o'clock on today. The indexes are all up nicely. I need to move these S&P and NASDAQ above last year's high. NASDAQ Composite not, Russell not, and the Dow is also not above last year's high. As we see, so we've got the S&P and NASDAQ doing the best for us so far. Let's take a real quick look at a couple of charts. And I want to share with you also, and I don't know if I can, I want to share with you a couple of scans you may want to take a look at over the weekend. There we go. And I'll just bring this over and we'll take a look at it here shortly. If you're a Thinkorswim member, learning how to do these scans is really important. I've found a couple of them that are just really excellent for providing information into what's going on the following week. And so let's take a look at what's going on with the indexes. And I'll take a look first at the daily. We've got a weekly and a daily going up here. This is the S&P. A couple of things of note is that, as we said earlier, the market ran up really, really rapidly over the last few weeks, and it appears to be running out of gas. We've got TSI kind of turning over. It had a two-line cluster on the market forecast on a daily chart. Well, look what's going on over here on a weekly chart. We actually had a three-line cluster on the weekly chart that was actually topped up last week. Now, the bearish cluster works a lot the same way that the bullish cluster does in the market forecast. Between 1 and 4 trading periods after one appears, you can count on, typically you're going to get some kind of either pullback, sell-off, or something like that. What does that mean for us in this particular case? Well, since this is a weekly chart, that would mean 1 to 4 weeks after this signal appearing, we could potentially get a move lower. And again, it does, it tells us that one can be expecting a move lower, but it doesn't tell us the quantity or the quality of the pullback. It may be just a real nice little pullback. Where would be a good place for the indexes to pull back to? Well, a nice pullback into the moving averages would be excellent. And then a rebound from there, because as you can see, that's going to put us right in the middle of the magic fib box. And again, so again, I pull back into the moving averages for a potential move higher. Because right now, with the indexes, the S&P extended so far away from the moving averages on a daily basis, it's not the time to get long the indexes. You want to wait for a better setup. What do we have going on here? The all-time breakout high was the 294.95. As you can see, we stuck our head above that yesterday, put in a bearish hanging man candlestick, which typically means that that's going to lead to a change of trend, even if it's just temporary. And we're getting kind of a follow through down to the downside today. Not a big sell-off, just to kind of, just probably a little bit of profit taking. And it would make sense with the noise that's coming, as I said, the noise that's coming out of Iran. It would make sense, hey, let's take some of these profits off the table that we had set up moving into, over the last 4 weeks since when we start this rally. Right there on 3rd of June. What about the Qs? Well, the Qs, not quite as robust as the S&P. Its all-time high is up here at 191.32. Fell a little bit short of that, and so it, not a big sell-off thing. Although this today's candlestick, while not quite a bearish harami, is showing that hey, sellers are coming in right here at this level, about the 289.70 level on up to 290. Again, and the expectation is we would potentially get a pullback into the moving averages, or this last breakup was about 285, a pullback into 185, or down into the actual moving averages, let's say about 183-ish would be expected, and that would be a good place to look at, okay, this is a good time to get long on the Qs. What else we got going here? Not a lot. Again, sellers came in right at yesterday's high, again today, and basically pushed prices back down. IWM hadn't caught up with the rest of the indexes and was kind of the redheaded stepchild, if you will, as we can see. A long way away from its all-time high up here at 161.11. You know, what's a long way? It's noticeable, is what I'm trying to say. It's noticeable that we have a significant difference between this and the S&P and the NASDAQ, and so prices are pushing right back down into the moving averages. Now, the positive side, okay. With the Fed coming out and being fairly dovish on interest rates, that could be very, very good for the Russell, the small cap stocks, because lower interest rates benefit the small cap because they typically have a higher debt. And so oftentimes you'll see the Russell small cap type stocks rally when the interest rates start to drop down. Now, the Fed did not say that they were going to, did not take action to lower interest rates at this particular point, other than just to say, we will be accommodating. So as we see, let's see what happens here. We'll see if the Russell, IWM representing it, pulls back into the moving averages. Here's where you target. Target your price action that's around those moving averages. So that looks like that is about from 152 up to approximately 153.50. That will be a trigger point to get into a trade to the upside on IWM. Now, if we blow through that, let's say price action just really ramps up and slices through those moving averages like the proverbial hot knife through butter, then that's going to tell us that this may be weaker than we expect. And so where would be another, without jeopardizing this this uptrend, how far could we pull back? Well, I'll just throw a Fibonacci on this. Throw a fib from the lows down here. There we go. Up to the highs. It's about there. And as you can see, the 382 retracement is down to 152. That's one of the areas where we highlighted. And then the 50 and the 618 are down here between 149.50 and then 150.78 respectively. So anywhere in that fib box, price actions could retreat into those areas and still not compromise this move up since June. This rally back up. That would be a fairly healthy pullback, but also it's needed to just blow off any excess that could be in the market. So that's what we're looking at there. Let me go here. All right, here's where we're going with the strategic compounding trades that we've been doing. As you can see, I've picked about $406 this week, slightly light on the 5% that I'm trying to generate and pull up every day. But basically, we're still up over 100% on this particular strategy since the beginning of the year. My target for this week is about $1,047, and we've already started to lay in the trades to help that happen. Here's again these earning trades. Now I'm going to continue to roll these earning trades over for premium members, and you'll see what's going on with these earning trades is that it's tracking fairly well. We made a couple of adjustments to be able to take advantage of doing some butterfly type spreads rather than doing just straight spreads. This week we've got Adobe, which has basically been, we did a butterfly spread on it that expires next week. And so we'll see whether or not how that works. At risk, we have $261, but I left that in gray. because that particular position is not closed yet. And then finally, KMX, CarMax. I see that CarMax just has triggered out of all of its holdings, and we gained $216 for the week on CarMax. And so I really like these trades. It gives us an ability to basically just generate some income on a regular basis. The excellent thing of the thing is that guess what? Netflix and Team, which were April 16th and 17th, well, guess what? They start rolling into the next season of earnings, July 17th. And as we can see, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 11 weeks worth of these earning trades. And again, we'll continue to do these going forward, because they're really quick hitting type trades where they last a couple of days. With the butterfly spreads, they may last a week or so, but really like what's going on with that. NASDAQ tends to be in a little bit of a rally going June, July, August, and then really get going after September. Slight September sell-off for the Christmas rally. Russell tends to move sideways June, July, drop off a little bit in August, and it just kind of follows its own path, if you will. That's what goes on with the Russell. And remember, BAM members, or if you want to become a Bay Area moneymaker, you can join us. It's kind of like an active trend trading light. July 6th, we have a webinar. We'll be doing preparing for, mid-year adjustments and planning the remainder of 2019. Then if you are a premium member, of course, we have our Wednesday training session at 6:30 in the evening. That's 6:30 California time. There's a little bit about myself and my son, who works with me in active trend trading. And there, of course, is my lovely bride, Michelle, and Brandon and his wife, Sharon, and our 2 grandkids. It's really kind of fun having a business that's all in the family. And so we enjoy doing this with each other. Hey, I want to show, as I said, before we go on to the final, I wanted to show one thing that you may want to take a look at. There we go. And it's these, if you are a Thinkorswim trader, and on this Thinkorswim platform, they have this thing called scans. You just pop that up, and they have a couple of can scans. That I like to utilize. Now, what I do is I look at stocks that are optionable, that have weekly options. So I can set that up. What I want to scan for? Well, I want to go over here, and I can load up a scan query. I can go to either personal, public, top 10. So I'm going to go over to personal. And those drawings. I'm going to go over to personal, load, and I'm going to go down here to upcoming earnings. I'm going to click on that. And as you can see, now this is going to give me when I hit the scan button, it's going to give me a list of stocks that that will have earnings over the next 14 days. I can increase this and make this, so 14 days is 2 weeks. That's, 14 days. I can increase that to 21 days, and that way it'll be over a 2-week period. But I go in here and I just click on, and again, I filter by optional stocks that have weekly options, because I don't want to be messing with anything that doesn't have a weekly option. I go here and I click, and it just goes off and scans very quickly. And as you can see, it has given me a list of stocks that have their earnings within the next 2 weeks. Now, CMX, which is CarMax, they had their earnings today. And so we'll X that one off the list. What else is going up? I've got FedEx coming up next week. That is already on my list. One of the ones I'll be taking a look at, I like the concept here of either Nike. Nike's a good stock to have, be aware of. And so if the other thing, if you like doing, some people like to do earnings strategy trades where they like to get into a stock maybe 2 to 3 weeks ahead of earnings. You can go up here again, do the same thing. Like I'm going to change this to 21 days. In other words, 3 weeks worth of data. Redo the scan. And did it give me more? I don't know if it did or not. There we go. Now, as you can see, and I can sort this by price. There we go. So what are some of the things that are coming up over the next couple of weeks? Well, dadgummit, if it would stay sorted. There we go. Well, some of the ones I want to be over the next 3 weeks: Netflix, United Health, Goldman Sachs. These are stocks that basically can provide some very good trading potential opportunities going into the earnings. And so typically, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time, you may look at, some doing kind of strategy in each one of those. We do that for our premium members. And so that's just one more reason to look at the opportunity of becoming a premium member. So with that, I'm going to basically, I just wanted to show you how to do this sort. And this is a can sort. You don't have to build it yourself. The only thing you have to do is tell it where to scan. And again, I scan in all optionable stocks that have weekly options. And I adjust the bars. Now I could go in here and tell it, well, don't show me anything that's below $20. And that's fine. You can do that by just adding a filter, like I would put in a filter right there, like I just did. And I could just say, last above, let's see, last a minimum of, let's say, $20. There we go. Now I can redo my scan. As you see, I have 60 that made it through the scan the first time. Now I redo the scan. You see, now that knocked out 5 of the stocks that I wanted to look at, or didn't want to look at. I didn't want to look at the lower price stocks. And I can bounce it up to whatever number you want to be at. But it's a little tool that can help you trade, basically use your time more efficiently as you research on weekends. And so with that, hey, that brings us to a close for today. Keep the egg growing, trade wisely, trade profitably, and have an absolute fabulous weekend. We'll be going up with the final hour here at the top of the hour. So until later, mahalo, aloha, and God bless everybody.